The Living Your Best Life Experiment, Week 26, Chapter 2, A Life of Sabotage. Chapter 2. So this week, we pose the question, are you your own enemy agent? We look at self-sabotage in this chapter and how that is at the root of what is really holding us back to where we're supposed to be. What are your non-obvious self-sabotaging tactics? If we stop and take a look at our lives, it's very obvious some of the self-sabotaging things that we do. Things like, I should be working out because it's good for my health, but I don't. Stuff like that. Things that are obvious to point out. But what are the non-obvious things that you do that sabotage your life? And how do we figure that out? What is the pattern? In this one, he talks about how a lot of the non-obvious self-sabotaging tactics that we use, we don't even realize when we're doing them. A lot of them are just done on autopilot and are an emotional response to some external factor. So how do we pinpoint what is that tactic? One of the things could be looking at patterns that you have. Why do we look at petty little things? Step back, take perspective. I really like this point, not only for figuring out what your patterns are with self-sabotage, but also in general. It's so easy to get focused on the little things that really in the big picture don't matter. I came across this display in the grocery store the other day, and it's to celebrate Andy Warhol's Campbell Soup pop culture cans. In the smallest scheme of things, it's just a can of soup. But when you step back and take perspective of what that can of soup represented at the time and how it fit into the big picture of what Warhol was trying to say, it no longer is just an insignificant can of tomato soup. Telling yourself the truth is hard. And then it talks about how if you want an extraordinary life, you can't be responding to it in ordinary ways. And demanding that you rise to the occasion and being honest with yourself. It says, the most challenging thing about self-reflection is that you're both the con artist and the one being conned. Failure in internal or external, but really, it just isn't lining up. On this note, it says that we tend to put failure into two categories. Either it's something internal with ourselves, or it's something external that's the cause. But really, what he's saying is that subconsciously, this is not lining up with where you're supposed to be. Luck is success you cannot define. And if it is not clearly defined, how can you repeat it? In this one, it talks about how we are the people we are because of the things that we've learned in the past or that we've been through. And that if we're not the people that we want to be, we need to really get to know how we got to this point so that we can figure out how to change it and really be present in that process of change so that we know how to repeat it if we need to and sustain it. 3 saboteur conclusions you have. 1, about you. 2, about others. 3, about life. So this last little bit, he talks about an introduction to the 3 saboteurs and how these are the 3 internal statements that you have within your head. The first one being about you and what you say about yourself, to yourself, about the other people in your life, and about life itself. So that's the end of this chapter. And I hope everybody has a great week. And until next time, bye.